Well, good morning and welcome to the green swimming pool because everything in time and space is in a constant state of just going to shit. It requires a hell of a lot of an effort and constant maintenance to keep it however it is you think it ought to look, but I've learnt through this course that and through life experience that how it ought to look is like, I have no clue how anything ought to look. It's perfect that the pool's green. It's meant to be green right now because it's offering me the opportunity to remember that nothing here in time and space is perfect. It's always perfect in its imperfection of itself, right? So even in this world, everything's reminding me of God, of the nature of perfection through here, imperfection, because this is an experience of separation from source, where we are now thankfully transiting through salvation through our mind training process to unity. So from separation to unity, and which we are already one. It's not like there's some state that's separate from us that we have to try and find called unity. It's like, no, I am that already. I'm one with all things already. But I seem to have these lingering ideas about being separate from things that are brought on by the ideas that I have about how things ought to look outside myself, things that I see with these physical eyes. But of course, it's just a trick. It's all an illusion. There is actually no world. And through the experience of our illumination of our mind, through the experience of our enlightenment, through the experience of atonement, accepting salvation, it's all the same thing. We come to remember our truth, right, which is a single truth. Truth is not relevant, and it's not arbitrary from one thing to another. So just truth is, right? I am, God is. So today we've got lesson 165. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. Let is the action word there. Okay, so what makes this world seem real except your own denial of the truth which lies beyond? What but your thoughts of misery and death obscure the perfect happiness and the eternal life your Father wills for you? And what could hide what cannot be concealed except illusion? What could keep you from what you already have except your choice to see it not, denying it is there? The thought of God created you. It left you not, nor have you ever been apart from it an instant. Nor have you ever been apart from it an instant. It belongs to you. By it you live. It is your source of life, holding you one with it, and everything is one with you because it left you not. The thought of God protects you, cares for you, makes soft your resting place and smooth your way, lighting your mind with happiness and love. Eternity and everlasting life shine in your mind because the thought of God has left you not and still abides with you. Who would deny his safety and his peace, his joy, his healing, and his peace of mind, his quiet rest, his calm awakening, if he but recognized where they abide? Would he not instantly prepare to go where they are found, abandoning all else as worthless in comparison with them? And having found them, would he not make sure they stay with him and he remain with them? Ah, thank God. Deny not heaven, it is yours today, but for the asking. Nor need you perceive how great the gift, how changed your mind will be before it comes to you. Ask, all right, ready? This is cool. Ask to receive, and it is given you. Asking, you shall receive. All right, so you have to ask from the heart. People often ask me, I don't know what words to use when I talk to God. I don't know what words when I'm asking. It's like the words don't matter. They're just symbols that represent something else. Right, so from the heart, feel it. How badly do you want to just love and be loved? Everyone. How badly is it? How deep is that will, that power, that passion for love in you? It's like I remember 3 days, I think it was, before my enlightenment, I had the dark night of my soul, and in that came out the prayer of my heart, which was a perfect prayer. I don't know how to explain that. It was a perfect prayer. It, there were words, but the passion was wrenching. It was just like I was on my knees. I was fetal in my lounge room and crying, and it was horrific. It was the worst night of my life, as far as this life goes. And the prayer of the heart was for not even the necessity for there to be anyone to forgive, not even the idea of forgiveness, like beyond forgiveness. I wanted that to be the status quo of my life and the life of everyone. And I can't remember that prayer. I'm sure somebody up there jotted it down, hopefully. It was a good one. Right? But from the heart, you got to feel. And one of the things with feeling too, I'll get back to the lesson for a second. I'm just aside here. One of the things with feeling, I often say to people, you got to feel your world. You got to feel, reach out like Star Wars, reach out with your feelings, connect with things. And it's like, I don't know how to reach out. I don't know how to feel. It's an idea in my mind. Feeling is an idea. But every thought I have has an emotion attached to it because cause and effect are not separate from each other. Okay. So let me start with a simple one, anger. I know how that makes me feel. Let me try and get in touch with that feeling. Or jealousy. I know how that makes me feel. Let me try. And I don't have those things anymore, but just as a reference from past, and people say to me often, I don't feel anything. And I say, well, that's cool, because not feeling anything is exactly what you're feeling. It's impossible not to feel something because the physical vessel is the symbol of the ego, which is the witness to the emotionality of the state. Okay, all emotions are of the ego. So if you're feeling nothing, then nothing is what you're feeling. If you feel dead inside or empty, whatever, that's great. Stand in that emptiness. Feel that nothingness. It doesn't have to be a big brass band kind of emotional situation where there's trumpets and, doesn't have to be one of those. It can just be that crushing inner emptiness, and allow it to crush you. Be still and breathe and allow for the release of whatever that is and to move through it. Okay. I hope that's helpful. Deny not heaven. Deny not heaven. It is yours today, but for the asking. Nor need you perceive how great the gift, how changed your mind will be before it comes to you. Ask to receive, and it is given you. Conviction lies within it. Till you welcome it as yours, uncertainty remains. Yet God is fair. Sureness is not required to receive what only your acceptance can bestow. Got it? Sureness is not required to receive what only your acceptance can bestow. I'm willing to accept. I'm willing to accept the truth today. I don't know how the hell that's going to look, but I'm willing to accept it, and I'm going to be still and allow for that to happen. Okay, and you must have sort of perceived some kind of idea about being still with our earlier lessons in the last 10 we did, where we have 15 to 30 minute periods of entering into a stillness and simply listening, okay, and waiting in that willingness to accept. I'm willingness to accept the truth today and to let everything else go, to give up the world and follow me, follow Christ. Ask with desire. You need not be sure that you request the only thing you want, but when you have received, you will be sure you have the treasure you have always sought. What would you then exchange it for? What would induce you now to let it fade away from your ecstatic vision? For this sight proves that you have exchanged your blindness for the seeing eyes of Christ. Your mind has come to lay aside denial and accept the thought of God as its inheritance. The thought of God is my inheritance. Now is all doubting past, the journey's end made certain, and salvation given you. Now is Christ's power in your mind to heal as you were healed, for now you are among the saviours of the world. Yeah, it's good. Your destiny lies there and nowhere else. Would God consent to let his son remain forever starved by his denial of the nourishment he needs to live? Abundance dwells in him, and deprivation cannot cut him off from God's sustained love and from his home. Practice in hope today, for hope indeed is justified. Your doubts are meaningless, for God is certain, and the thought of him is never absent. Sureness must abide within you who are host to him. This course removes all doubts which you have interposed between him and your certainty of him. We count on God and not upon ourselves to give us certainty, and in his name we practice as his word directs we do. His sureness lies beyond our every doubt. His love remains beyond our every fear. The thought of him is still beyond all dreams and in our minds, according to his will. According to his will. It doesn't have to be according to your will. Thank God for that. If it was, you'd fuck it up. According to his will. It's like, oh, I can rest in that. I can just sit back and just rest and enjoy the peace of my mind, knowing that everything's under control. As soon as I go back to these eyes and look out there and these ears and listen and take in the stories and the details of the physical world, however, I'm back in the drama, back in the dream. Okay? So it's really important to spend time every day and as often as you can throughout the day, just remembering everything's according to God's will. Okay? Now, I often have people say to me, if everything's according to God's will, how can there be sick babies and all these sorts of things? That's the body's eyes. Okay? The illusion is always going to be, the Maya, the dream of death, is always going to be the dream of death. Attempting to make heaven on earth here, attempting to make a better world, a better way, and all of that here, is pointless. That's not what it's for. That's not what its purpose is. But you can individually and extend that out into the collective, begin to take on board an inner sanctum perspective of the world as nothing more than an opportunity to remember, like the green swimming pool, that the kingdom of heaven abides within, and that I am to walk with the grace of God within me through the battlefield of the seeming illusion of things that seems to be going on out there, with the knowledge that I have gained from the experience of the illumination of my mind, to bring about a change in not only my cause and effect relationship within the world, but the vibratory frequency of the continuum as a whole. Okay? In the moment that you, and if you have already had an experience of illumination, as some people write to me sometimes and say, I've seen the world, my body disappear and found myself back in God. It's like, oh, thank God. There's a few of us now. There's, enlightenment. I sometimes see people in those old Eastern sites saying, is anyone on the world enlightened? And, other enlightened people walk the world. It's like, it doesn't really matter, but yes, there are. Yes, there are. I personally know of about probably, I don't know, a bunch. 144,000. Maybe. But it's like to be the light in the darkness, to be the voice of sanity amidst a sea of chaos. It's like, I remember that there's a little meme getting around on social media where there's a line of matches, and one match is pulled down, and on the left they're all burnt, and on the right they're all whole. So the one that pulled down has changed his mind about participating in the nature of the world, and it's had an effect on the rest. A miracle, they cried. All right, I love you, and see you tomorrow. Peace.